Objects from Tender Buttons. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Corey Samuel. Tender Buttons by Gertrude Stein. Objects. A carafe, that is a blind glass. A kind in glass and a cousin, a spectacle and nothing strange, a single hurt colour and an arrangement in a system to pointing. All this and not ordinary, not unordered in not resembling. The difference is spreading. Glazed glitter. Nickel. What is nickel? It is originally rid of a cover. The change in that is that red weakens an hour. The change has come. There is no search. But there is that hope and that interpretation, and sometime, surely any is unwelcome, sometime there is breath and there will be a sinecure, and charming, very charming, is that clean and cleansing. Certainly glittering is handsome and convincing. There is no gratitude in mercy and in medicine. There can be breakages in Japanese. That is no programme. That is no colour chosen. It was chosen yesterday, that showed spitting and perhaps washing and polishing. It certainly showed no obligation, and perhaps, if borrowing is not natural, there is some use in giving. A substance in a cushion. The change of colour is likely, and a difference, a very little difference, is prepared. Sugar is not a vegetable. Callous is something that hardening leaves behind what will be soft if there is a genuine interest in their being present as many girls as men. Does this change? It shows that dirt is clean when there is a volume. A cushion has that cover. Supposing you do not like to change, supposing it is very clean that there is no change in appearance, supposing that there is regularity and a costume, is that any the worse than an oyster and an exchange? Come to season, that is there any extreme use in feather and cotton? Is there not much more joy in a table and more chairs, and very likely roundness and a place to put them? A circle of fine cardboard and a chance to see a tassel. What is the use of a violent kind of delightfulness if there is no pleasure in not getting tired of it? The question does not come before there is a quotation. In any kind of place there is a top to covering, and it is a pleasure at any rate, there is some venturing in refusing to believe nonsense. It shows what use there is in a whole piece, if one uses it, and it is extreme, and very likely the little things could be dearer, but in any case there is a bargain, and if there is, the best thing to do is to take it away and wear it, and then be reckless, and resolved on returning gratitude. Light blue and the same red with purple makes a change. It shows that there is no mistake. Any pink shows that, and very likely it is reasonable. Very likely there should not be a finer fancy present. Some increase means a calamity, and this is the best preparation for three and more being together. A little calm is so ordinary, and in any case there is sweetness and some of that. A seal and matches and a swan and ivy and a suit. A closet. A closet does not connect under the bed. The band, if it is white and black, the band has a green string. A sight, a whole sight, and a little groan grinding makes a trimming, such a sweet singing, trimming, and a red thing, not a round thing, but a white thing, a red thing and a white thing. The disgrace is not in carelessness, nor even in sewing it comes out of the way. What is the sash like? The sash is not like anything mustard, it is not like a same thing that has stripes. It is not even more hurt than that. It has a little top. A box. Out of kindness comes redness, and out of rudeness comes rapid same question, Out of an eye comes research, out of selection comes painful cattle. So then the order is that a white way of being round is something suggesting a pin, and is it disappointing? It is not. It is so rudimentary to be analysed and see a fine substance strangely. It is so earnest to have a green point, not to red, but to point again. A piece of coffee. More of double. A place in no new table. A single image is not splendour. Dirty is yellow. A sign of more in not mentioned. A piece of coffee is not a detainer. The resemblance to yellow is dirtier and distincter. The clean mixture is whiter and not coal colour, never more coal colour than altogether. The sight of a reason, the same sight slighter, the sight of a simpler negative answer, the same sore sounder, the intention to wishing, the same splendour, the same furniture. The time to show a message is when too late, and later there is no hanging in a blight. A not torn rosewood colour. If it is not dangerous, then a pleasure, and more than any other, if it is cheap, is not cheaper. The amusing side is that the sooner there are no fewer, the more certain it is the necessity dwindled. Supposing that the case contained rosewood and a colour. Supposing that there was no reason for a distress, and more likely for a number. Supposing that there was no astonishment, is it not necessary to mingle astonishment? The settling of stationing cleaning is one way not to shatter scatter and scattering. The one way to use custom is to use soap and silk for cleaning. The one way to see cotton is to have a design concentrating the illusion and the illustration. The perfect way is to accustom the thing to have a lining and the shape of a ribbon, and to be solid, quite solid in standing, and to use heaviness in morning. It is light enough in that. It has that shape nicely. Very nicely may not be exaggerating. Very strongly may be sincerely fainting. May be strangely flattering. May not be strange in everything. May not be strange too. Dirt and not copper. Dirt and not copper makes a colour darker. It makes the shape so heavy and makes no melody harder. It makes mercy and relaxation, and even a strength to spread a table fuller. There are more places not empty. They see cover. Nothing elegant. A charm, a single charm, is doubtful. If the red is rose, and there is a gate surrounding it, if inside is let in, and their places change, then certainly something is upright. It is earnest. Mildred's umbrella. A cause and no curve, a cause and loud enough, a cause, an extra, a loud clash and an extra wagon, a sign of extra, a sack, a small sack, and an established colour and cunning, a slender grey and no ribbon. This means a loss, a great loss, a restitution. A method of a cloak. A single climb to a line, a straight exchange to a cane, a desperate adventure and courage and a clock, all this which is a system, which has feeling, which has resignation and success, all makes an attractive black silver. A red stamp. If lilies are lily white, if they exhaust noise, and distance, and even dust, if they dusty will dirt a surface that has no extreme grace, if they do this, and it is not necessary, it is not at all necessary, if they do this, they need a catalogue. A box. A large box is handily made of what is necessary to replace any substance. Suppose an example is necessary. The plainer it is made, the more reason there is for some outward recognition that there is a result. A box is made sometimes, and them to see to it neatly, and to have the holes stopped up, makes it necessary to use paper. A custom which is necessary when a box is used and taken is that a large part of the time there are three which have different connections. The one is on the table. The two are on the table. The three are on the table. The one is the same length as is shown by the cover being longer. The other is different, there is more cover that shows it. The other is different, and that makes the corners have the same shade, the 8 are in singular arrangement to make 4 necessary. Lax, to have corners, to be lighter than some weight, to indicate a wedding journey, to last brown and not curious, to be wealthy. Cigarettes are established by length and by doubling. Left open, to be left pounded, to be left closed, to be circulating in summer and winter, and sick colour that is grey, that is not dusty and red shows. To be sure cigarettes do measure an empty length sooner than a choice in colour. Winged, to be winged means that white is yellow, and pieces that are brown are dust colour if dust is washed off. Then it is choice, that is to say, it is fitting cigarettes sooner than paper. An increase. Why is an increase idle? Why is silver cloister? Why is the spark brighter? If it is brighter, is there any result? Hardly more than ever. A plate. An occasion for a plate. An occasional resource is in buying, and how soon does washing enable a selection of the same thing neater? If the party is small, a clever song is in order. Plates and a dinner set of coloured china. Pack together a string, and enough with it to protect the centre. Cause a considerable haste, and gather more as it is cooling. Collect more trembling, and not any even trembling. Cause a whole thing to be a church. A sad size, a size that is not sad, is blue, as every bit of blue is precocious. A kind of green, a game in green, and nothing flat, nothing quite flat, and more round. Nothing a particular colour strangely. Nothing breaking the losing of no little piece. A splendid address, a really splendid address, is not shown by giving a flower freely. It is not shown by a mark or by wetting. Cut in white. Cut in white so lately. Cut more than any other, and show it. Show it in the stem, and in starting, and in evening coming complication. A lamp is not the only sign of glass. The lamp and the cake are not the only sign of stone. The lamp and the cake and the cover are not the only necessity altogether. A plan, a hearty plan. A compressed disease, and no coffee, not even a card or a change to incline either way, a plan that has that excess, and that break is the one that shows filling. A seltzer bottle. Any neglect of many particles to a cracking, any neglect of this makes around it what is lead in colour, and certainly discolour in silver. The use of this is manifold. Supposing a certain time selected is assured, suppose it is even necessary, suppose no other extract is permitted and no more handling is needed, suppose the rest of the message is mixed with a very long slender needle, and even if it could be any black border, supposing all this altogether made a dress, and suppose it was actual, suppose the mean way to state it was occasional, if you suppose this in August and even more melodiously, if you suppose this even in the necessary incident of there certainly being no middle in summer and winter, suppose this, and an elegant settlement, a very elegant settlement, is more than of consequence. It is not final and sufficient and substituted. This, which was so kindly a present, was constant. A long dress. What is the current that makes machinery, that makes it crackle? What is the current that presents a long line and a necessary waste? What is this current? What is the wind? What is it? Where is the serene length? It is there, and a dark place is not a dark place. Only a white and red are black. Only a yellow and green are blue. A pink is scarlet. A bow is every colour. A line distinguishes it. A line just distinguishes it. A red hat. A dark grey, a very dark grey, a quite dark grey is monstrous ordinarily. It is so monstrous because there is no red in it. If red is in everything, it is not necessary. Is that not an argument for any use of it? And even so, is there any place that is better? Is there any place that has so much stretched out? A blue coat. A blue coat is guided away, guided and guided away. That is the particular colour that is used for that length, and not any width, not even more than a shadow. A piano. If the speed is open, if the colour is careless, if the selection of a strong scent is not awkward, if the buttonholder is held by all the waving colour and there is no colour, not any colour, if there is no dirt in a pin and there can be none scarcely, if there is not, then the place is the same as upstanding. This is no dark custom, and it even is not acted in any such a way that a restraint is not spread. That is spread. It shuts and it lifts, and awkwardly, not awkwardly, the centre is in standing. A chair. A widow in a wise veil and more garments shows that shadows are even. It addresses no more, it shadows the stage and learning. A regular arrangement, the severest and the most preserved, is that which has the arrangement not more than always authorized. A suitable establishment, well housed, practical, patient and staring, a suitable bedding, very suitable, and not more particularly than complaining, anything suitable is so necessary. A fact is that when the direction is just like that, no more, longer, sudden and at the same time not any sofa, the main action is that without a blaming there is no custody. Practice measurement, practice the sign that means, that really means a necessary betrayal, in showing that there is wearing. Hope. What is a spectacle? A spectacle is the resemblance between the circular side place and nothing else. Nothing else. To choose, it is ended. It is actual, and more than that, it certainly has the same treat, and a seat all that is practised, and more easily, much more easily ordinarily. Pick a barn, a whole barn, and bend more slender accents than have ever been necessary, shine in the darkness necessarily. Actually not aching, actually not aching, a stubborn bloom is so artificial, and even more than that, it is a spectacle, it is a binding accident, it is animosity and accentuation. If the chance to dirty diminishing is necessary, if it is, why is there no complexion? Why is there no rubbing? Why is there no special protection? A frightful release. A bag which was left, and not only taken but turned away, was not found. The place was shown to be very like the last time. A piece was not exchanged, not a bit of it. A piece was left over. The rest was mismanaged. A purse. A purse was not green, it was not straw colour, it was hardly seen, and it had a use, a long use, and the chain was never missing, it was not misplaced, it showed that it was open, that is all that it showed. A mounted umbrella. What was the use of not leaving it there, where it would hang? What was the use if there was no chance of ever seeing it come there and show that it was handsome and right in the way that showed it? The lesson is to learn that it does show it, that it shows it, and that nothing, that there is nothing, that there is no more to do about it, and just so much more is there plenty of reason for making an exchange. A cloth. Enough cloth is plenty and more is almost enough for that, and besides, if there is no more spreading, is there plenty of room for it? Any occasion shows the best way. More. An elegant use of foliage, and grace, and a little piece of white cloth and oil. Wandering so winningly in several kinds of oceans is the reason that makes red so regular and enthusiastic. The reason that there is more snips of the same shining, very coloured, rid of no round colour. A new cup and saucer. Enthusiastically hurting a clouded yellow bud and saucer, enthusiastically so is the bite in the ribbon. Objects. Within the cut and slender joint alone, with sudden equals and no more than 3, 2 in the centre make 2 one side. If the elbow is long and it is filled, so then the best example is altogether. The kind of show is made by squeezing. Eyeglasses. A colour in shaving. A saloon is well placed in the centre of an alley. A cutlet. A blind agitation is manly and uttermost. Careless water. No cup is broken in more places and mended. That is to say, a plate is broken, and mending does do that. It shows that culture is Japanese. It shows the whole element of angels and orders. It does more to choosing, and it does more to that ministering counting. It does change in more water. Supposing a single piece is a hair, supposing more of them are orderly, does that show that strength? Does that show that joint? Does that show that balloon famously? Does it? A paper. A courteous occasion makes a paper show no such occasion, and this makes readiness and eyesight and likeness and a stool. A drawing. The meaning of this is entirely and best to say the mark, best to say it best to show sudden places, best to make bitter, best to make the length tall and nothing broader, anything between the half. Water raining. Water astonishing and difficult altogether makes a meadow and a stroke. Cold climate. A season in yellow sold extra strings makes lying places. Malachite. The sudden spoon is the same in no size. The sudden spoon is the wound in the decision. An umbrella. Colouring high means that the strange reason is in front, no more in front behind. Not more in front in piece of the dot. A petticoat. A light white, a disgrace, an ink spot, a rosy charm. A waist. A star glide, a single frantic sullenness, a single financial grass greediness. Object that is in wood. Hold the pine, hold the dark, hold in the rush, make the bottom. A piece of crystal. A change. In a change that is remarkable, there is no reason to say that there was a time. A woollen object gilded. A country climb is the best disgrace. A couple of practices, any of them in order, is so left. A time to eat. A pleasant, simple, habitual and tyrannical and authorized and educated and resumed and articulate separation. This is not tardy. A little bit of a tumbler. A shining indication of yellow consists in there having been more of the same colour than could have been expected when all 4 were bought. This was the hope which made the 6 and the 7 have no use for any more places, and this necessarily spread into nothing. Spread into nothing. A fire. What was the use of a whole time to send and not send, if there was to be the kind of thing that made that come in? A letter was nicely sent. A handkerchief. A winning of all the blessings, a sample, not a sample, because there is no worry. Red roses. A cool red rose and a pink cut pink, a collapse and a sold whole, a little less hot. In between. In between a place and candy is a narrow footpath that shows more mounting than anything, so much really that a calling meaning a bolster measured a whole thing with that. A virgin, a whole virgin, is judged made, and so between curves and outlines and real seasons and more out glasses, and a perfectly unprecedented arrangement between old ladies and mild colds, there is no satin wood shining. Coloured hats. Coloured hats are necessary to show that curls are worn by an addition of blank spaces. This makes the difference between single lines and broad stomachs. The least thing is lightening. The least thing means a little flower, and a big delay that makes more nurses than little women, really little women. So clean is a light that nearly all of it shows pearls and little ways. A large hat is tall, and me and all custard whole. A feather. A feather is trimmed. It is trimmed by the light and the bug and the post. It is trimmed by little leaning and by all sorts of mounted reserves and loud volumes. It is surely cohesive. A brown. A brown which is not liquid, not more, so is relaxed, and yet there is a change. A news is pressing. A little called Pauline. A little called anything shows shudders. Come and say what prince all day. A whole few watermelon. There is no Pope. No cut in pennies and little dressing, and shoes wide soles and little spats, really little spices. A little lace makes boils. This is not true. Gracious of gracious, and a stamp, a blue-green white bow, a blue-green lean on the top. If it is absurd, then it is leadish, and nearly set in where there is a tight head. A peaceful life to arise her, noon and moon and moon. A letter, a cold sleeve, a blanket, a shaving-house, and nearly the best and regular window. Nearer in fairy sea, nearer and farther, show white has lime in sight, show a stitch of 10. Count more so that thicker and thicker is leaning. I hope she has her cow. Bidding a wedding, widening received treading, little leading mention nothing. Cough out in the leather, and really feather it is not for. Please could, jam it not plus more sit in when. A sound. Elephant beaten with candy and little pops and chews all bolts and reckless rats. This is this. A table. A table means, does it not, my dear, it means a whole steadiness. Is it likely that a change? A table means more than a glass, even a looking-glass is tall. A table means necessary places, and a revision of a little thing. It does mean, that there has been a stand where it did shake. Shoes. To be a wall, with a damper, a stream of pounding way, and nearly enough choice, makes a steady midnight. It is pus. A shallow hole, rose on red. A shallow hole in and in this makes ale less. It shows shine. A dog. A little monkey goes like a donkey that means to say that more size last goes. Leave with it. A little monkey goes like a donkey. A white hunter. A white hunter is nearly crazy. A leave. In the middle of a tiny spot and nearly bare there is a nice thing to say that wrist is leading. Wrist is leading. Suppose an eyes. Suppose it is within a gate which open is open at the hour of closing summer, that is to say, it is so. All the seats are needing blackening. A white dress is in sign. A soldier, a real soldier, has a worn lace of different sizes, that is to say, if he can read. If he can read, he is a size to show shutting up 24. Go red, laugh white. Suppose a collapse in rubbed purr get. Little salesladies, little salesladies, little saddles of mutton. Little sails of leather and such beautiful, 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 beautiful. A shawl. A shawl is a hat and hurt and a red balloon and an undercoat and a sizer of talks. A shawl is a wedding, a piece of wax, a little build. A shawl. Pick a ticket. Pick it in strange steps and with hollows. There is hollow belt. A belt is a shawl. A plate that has a little bobble. All of them, any so. Please, around, it is ticket. It was a mistake to state that a laugh and a lip and a laid climb and a depot and a cultivator and little choosing is a point it. Book. Book was there. It was there. Book was there. Stop it. Stop it. It was a cleaner, a wet cleaner, and it was not where it was wet. It was not high. It was directly placed back. Not back again. Back it was returned. It was needless. It put a bank when? A bank care. Suppose a man, a realistic expression of resolute reliability, suggests pleasing itself white, all white, and no head, does that mean soap? It does not so. It means kind wavers, and little chance to beside rest. A plain. Suppose earrings. That is one way to breed that. Oh, chance to say, oh, nice old pole. Next best and nearest a pillar. Chest not valuable. Be papered. Cover up the two with a little piece of string, and hope, rose and green, green. Please a plate. Put a match to the seam, and really then it is a remark that joins many lead games. It is a sister, and a flower, and a dog, and a coloured sky, a sky coloured grey, and nearly that let. Peeled pencil, choke. Rub her coke. It was black, black took. Black ink, best wheel, bale, brown. Excellent, not a whole house, not a pea soup, no bill, no care, no precise, no past pearl goat. This is this dress, Ada. Ada. Why, Ada, why wow? Wow stop touch. Ada wow. Ada stop the muncher. Muncher munches. A jack in kill her. A jack in. Makes a meadowed king. Makes a to let. End of objects.